Greetings from Moscow, Professor.
One of the Showtime's all-time hit show Homeland ended its glorious run after 8 seasons. The finale, titled Prisoners of War, was one of the highest rated episodes of the season. The episode opened with the most thrilling moment of the first season, in which Nicholas Brody was shown recording a manifesto. In New York, David Wellington finds out that Saul's source in Pakistan gave false information about Hakini and they never actually took him out in the drone strike.
Nobody. It was a bad turbine blade. An accident.
But President Hayes is now ready to take out the country. But Pakistan announces that they are readying their nuclear weapons in defense. For the first time during the show's entire run, we see Anna, Saul's double agent, in her day job, where we overhear her boss speaking about the idea of American-Pakistani nuclear war. John's war prediction goes all wrong when the president's helicopter crashes due to the mechanical failure. But he has no problem to take the country to war over false pretenses. Meanwhile, Saul makes the plan to go outside to the Post and the Times with the real story. Maggie was tipped off that Keir is back from Germany. Keir heads back to the empty mansion just to find out that Yevgeny wants her to kill Saul. She goes straight to Maggie's house to dig through her passport and money. She argues with Maggie and wants to turn over the Russians' asset in the exchange of flight recorder. But Saul thinks that keeping a line of intelligence to the Russians is worth it all. Filled with rage, she flickers the light to signal her GRU partners, while attempting to question him and begs him to give up the double agent so she can call off the team, but he refuses.
See, reason. No one person is worth lives of tens of thousands.
But in the end, Keir decided to call off the kill, leaving Russian to tie Saul to a chair so that he can't go meet with the reporters. At West Bank, Keir goes to Saul's sister's house, where she tells Dorrit that Saul passed away from the stroke. Now Dorrit hands over his most sensitive intelligence. Falsely convincing a sister of her brother's death, the scene allows Dorrit to reflect on the calculating nature of the job, how nothing is sacred. Even the closest relationship in the agent's life exists within the framework of intelligence work. She has what Keir is looking for, and few minutes after, she sends Dorrit on her way to the airport for Saul's fake funeral. Yevgeny appears in the West Bank to collect the names. She shows Yevgeny the video that much younger and less grey Saul recorded as his handover in the case of the death. Yevgeny sends a message to the man with the flight recorder, and in an instant, decades of Saul's secret keeping is undone. After police free Saul from the Russians, he tips off Scott Ryan in the time to grab Anna from the UN briefing room. They wind up barricaded in the basement room. The GRU in the process is breaking down the door. With Saul on the phone, Anna takes her own life before Russian can go to her. As Russians releases the cockpit recording from the downed helicopter. But soon enough, Keir and Yevgeny discovered that Saul tipped Anna off, which means that Israeli counterintelligence knows that Keir worked for the Russians. They jumped in the car and the show's cut off 2 years later in Moscow. Keir and Yevgeny in the apartment acting like a couple. We see remnant of old Keir around the house. Except for the first time, the paranoia centers on the United States. Meanwhile, in DC, Saul and Dorrit packs up their house when the phone rings. A man on the other line asking for Professor Rabinow. Saul goes back to the bookstore from the days of his dead drop to find a new package, which would seem impossible, given the fact that his double agent has been dead for 2 years. The package contains a copy of Keir's book with the message in the binding. The shows end up with satisfied, genuinely happy Keir. We never know whether this was Keir's endgame from the beginning, but I will think that Keir and Saul cooked up the plot at the end of season 7, when the dangers of Keir's Russian capture became clear. It's the longest of the long con, but it gives all the meaning. Her 7 months of medication-less torture in Russian prison, her time in Kabul, her seemingly betrayal of Saul to Yevgeny along the way. As a prisoner of this war, Keir was never going to get the kind of happy home life we all thought that she could, and I think Homeland writers gave us a gift, showing her not only at peace but alive with the thrill of her new endeavor. We all know it's better to place her at a safe distance from her loved ones, free to play out the questionable morals in the world in which there is no victims or prisoners. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, please hit the like button, and for more such content like this, subscribe to our channel.